So usual rules apply with this one. I'm going to give you a series of clues as to who the celebrity is that I'm being. And if you guess it on the first clue, you get 10 points. Second clue, you get 8 points. Then 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for the corresponding clues. The clues get easier as we go on. So it's up to you when you decide to metaphorically hand it in. I don't want you to hand anything in. Just write it down and be honest with yourselves about when you would have handed it in if we were doing this in a club setting. Put in the chat box how many points you're going for, but don't put any clues as to who you're going for or any clues as to who it is or anything like that. Just literally the number of points that you're claiming, so everyone else can see when you would have handed it in if you were to do so. So your first clue for 10 points. I was born on the 3rd of January, 1956 in New York. I was born on the 3rd of January, 1956 in New York. I can see that Boody's clicked the recording button as well. Good. So if anyone does miss the quiz any week, then they can normally catch up later on. I think Boody puts it onto YouTube. You can clock on there and catch up at a later point if you wish to do so. So for 10 points, I was born 3rd of January 1956 in New York. Purposely trying to make this a little bit harder this week. I don't want anyone getting the 10 points. We've had some fantastic guesses in the last 2 weeks, to be fair, so hopefully it's a little bit more difficult this time. Even my mum got 8, she says. Any takers for 10? I can't imagine so, unless anyone shares the same birthday and it's one of those where you know the people that were born on that date, then it's difficult to get at that point. So for clue for 8 points, I am the 6th of 11 children. I am the 6th of 11 children. So I was born on the 3rd of January 1956 in New York, and I am the 6th of 11 children.
We'll say 8, mate, yeah?
Joe's going for 8. Dazzler's going for 8. Who did you end up scavenging together for your team then, Daz? I know you were struggling early on.
There's 3 of us.
Just the 3 of you? Is Tom one of them? Tom counts to 150 if Tom's one of them.
Tom's sat in a crane.
That doesn't mean he's not taking part.
Nah, he's on it.
So I was born 3rd of January 1956 in New York. I am the 6th of 11 children. We've got a couple that have gone for 8 there. For 6 points, I won an Oscar for Best Director in the 1990s. I won an Oscar for Best Director in the 1990s. I can see the cogs turning on Phil Constantine there. I know he did some research onto Oscar winners, thinking I was going to ask that on a wipeout round at one point. I have been tempted to, but films aren't to everyone's taste. They're a little bit difficult, I think, some of those. So yeah, I won an Oscar for Best Director in the 1990s. That's your clue for 6 points. David Anique, we internet problems are having. Is that Yoda that said that? Kath gone for 6. I'll just repeat those just in case David Anique haven't got it. But I was born 3rd of January 1956 in New York. That was your clue for 10. Your clue for 8 is I am the 6th of 11 children. Your clue for 6, I won an Oscar for Best Director in the 1990s. That's where we're up to so far. And we've got a couple that have gone for 8 and a couple that have gone for 6. My mum is also going for 6. For 5 points, I moved to Sydney, Australia at 12 years old. I moved to Sydney, Australia at 12 years old. 5 for the Wadsworths. 5 for the Constantines. 5 for the Bouloroids. There's a few more going for 5 on the Australia clue there. So a couple for 8, a couple for 6. 3 for 6, actually. 3 for 5. For 4 points, I got my breakthrough in the Mad Max series of films. I got my breakthrough in the Mad Max series of films. 4 for Mary, 4 for David Inique. 4 for Terry. 4 for Paul. There we go, a few more coming there. I think Sarah's typing away as well. 4 for Sarah. Yeah, so a few more come through there for the Mad Max series of films. 4 for Ryan as well there. I'm going to move on to your 3-pointer. For 3 points, I produced, starred in, and directed the film Braveheart. And my mum is now saying she's not likely to get 6 points.
I know it is now.
Well, you should have waited and got 3 then, shouldn't you? So I produced, starred in, and directed the film Braveheart. Greg gone for 4. That's for 3 points, that last one. So I produced, starred in, and directed the film Braveheart for 3 points. Jean gone for 4 as well. For 2 points, I directed and starred in Passion of the Christ. For 2 points, I directed and starred in Passion of the Christ. Who did you put? I've actually put him on before, but not 90s. He did win an Oscar for Best Director in the 90s. His first one, actually.
I know I did.
I think it was 92, Schindler's List.
Yeah.
And your last clue, for 1 point, my initials are MG. M for Mike, G for Golf.
I'd have got it at
3. I am, of course, Mel Gibson. So let's have a look in the chat box. Let's see how many people ended up with on that round. So David and Anique got the 4 they went for. Constantine's got the 5. Joe got the 8 she went for. Joe, you're doing really, really well on Who Am I's recently. That's a really good score. Ryan, 0. Let us know where you went for, Ryan. Always good to have a laugh. Boothie got 5. Mary 4. Terry 4. Wadsworth got 5. Sharon Rose and Chloe 6. Sarah 4. Kath 6. Jean 4. Paul Walker 4. Ryan, you went for the same as my mum. My mum went for 6 and she put Steven Spielberg as well. He did win an Oscar in the 90s. I think it was for Schindler's List, which I think was actually his first Oscar. But about 92, 91, 92, that area. But no, not him. Greg for The Big Family did it for us, the job. Fair enough. I mean, there's plenty of you then. So that's your Who Am I out of the way. Going to move on to your first 10 questions. So general knowledge questions, all the usual rules apply. Question 1. Screaming Lord Such was the leader of which political party? Screaming Lord Such was the leader of which political party? Out of interest, I've heard of him, but what decade are we talking there for that? 80s.
70s, 80s.
70s, 80s. It's one of them, and my mum and dad have always talked about it. It's always been there, and everyone really understood it because I don't remember it, but I was always curious as to what decade we're on. Anyway, that's question 1. Question 2, from which country do Lexus cars originate? From which country do Lexus cars originate? Question 3. Which famous couple lived at 25 Cromwell Street, Gloucestershire? Which famous couple lived at 25 Cromwell Street, Gloucestershire? Thumbs up from Sharon there, I think. You'll understand why at the end if you've not got that one. Which famous couple lived at 25 Cromwell Street, Gloucestershire? Question 4. I don't ask many of these questions, so I thought I'd give one a go. Who is the Greek god of love? Who is the Greek god of love? Question 5. Which brand of coffee was named after the hotel in which it was first served? Which brand of coffee was named after the hotel in which it was first served? That's question 5. Question 6. Which English word comes from an old French word meaning sour wine? Which English word comes from an old French word meaning sour wine? Question 7. Where does the conclave take place to elect a pope? Where does the conclave take place to elect a pope? Can we have that one again? Sorry, Ryan says, can we have that one again? Yeah, not a problem. Question 7 again. Where does the conclave take place to elect a pope? Where does the conclave take place to elect a pope? That's repeating number 7. Question 8. Which entertainer, born in 1929, had his coffin decorated with 4 candles at his funeral in 2005? Which entertainer, born in 1929, had his coffin decorated with 4 candles at his funeral in 2005? Question 9. How many people are portrayed in Da Vinci's Last Supper? How many people are portrayed in Da Vinci's Last Supper? And question 10, last one before we have a little break. Where is the National Railway Museum? Question 10, where is the National Railway Museum? So I'm going to give you a few minutes there, just 5 minutes or so, just to be filling in any blanks that you've got for your wipeout round, your picture round, and any of the 10 questions. And then we're going to go through the answers to the wipeout round. So please make sure you focus on that one and you're ready to, again, hand that one in essentially by, let's say, 8:15. So you've got 8 minutes.
Can you repeat number 4, please?
Repeat number 4, not a problem. Number 4 again. Who is the Greek god of love?
Cheers.
No worries.
Can you repeat number 6, please?
Number 6, yeah, not a problem. Which English word comes from an old French word meaning sour wine?
An old English word.
So Greg's asked for question 4 and question 3. So question 4 was the Greek god of love. And question 3, which famous couple lived at 25 Cromwell Street, Gloucestershire?
Because it's got to be French.
There you repeats on 4 and 3. Any more repeats or can I go and get another beer?
Crossy, number 8, please, pal.
Number 8, not a problem. Which entertainer, born in 1929, had his coffin decorated with 4 candles at his funeral in 2005?
Yeah, I get mixed up with it, Billy Bear, but that sketch is from Open Hours.
Greg says 1 and 2. So you've asked for 4, 3, 1 and 2. Greg, you weren't even tuned in late. Right, question 1. Screaming Lord Such was the leader of which political party? That's question 1. Screaming Lord Such was the leader of which political party? Question 2. 2 was Chicago. The next most recent was in 1968 and was Oliver.
Oh, that's it.
Before that, it was 1965, The Sound of Music. Before that, the year before, 1964, My Fair Lady. And before that, in 1961, West Side Story. They were the 5 most recent musical winners of the Best Picture Award at the Oscars. If anyone put Gigi, that was the one before it. That was 1958, so that's 6. So you wouldn't have got a point for Gigi. You'll lose your points for Gigi, in fact. So, moving on to our stadia. I was after any of the top 5 by capacity stadia in England, specifically in England. Capacity of 90,000, number 1 is Wembley Stadium. Capacity of 82,000, number 2 is Twickenham Stadium. Capacity of 75,731, Old Trafford. If anyone put Manchester United for that, I'm happy to accept that as well. Then we would have had Cardiff, Edinburgh. So we now move on to our 4th stadium, which is the London Stadium, 66,000. I'll also accept West Ham for that one. And 5th, with the capacity of 62,303, we have the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We've got some head scratching. Boothie looks a little bit disappointed with himself there. So, how many did people score on my wipeout round this week? Paul Walker, 9 points on the wipeout round. That's exceptional. Sarah, 8. Fantastic score. David Inique, 0. Not unexpected. I would expect a lot of zeros this week. Caslot, 5. Wadsworth, 5. Constantine, 7. Ryan, 6.
7 for us, pal.
Principality Stadium. What a pillock. Exactly. It's not even in England. Joe, 6. Terry, 5. Sharon Rose, Chloe, 5. Jean, 0. My mum gets 4. Boothie gets a big fat 0. There's a few zeros there, but not loads. I thought that would probably catch a few more out, to be honest with you. But 9 points on there is absolutely fantastic. The stadium's probably gettable, but the musicals were tough.
We wrote the London Stadium across it out.
You actually got all 5 on the musicals.
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well done. That's probably, that's a very difficult wipeout round that. So
Well,
done with that.
My son's a film. His eldest lad's a film buff, so
Right. That's every credit there. That's a really good score. Right. So where am I up to? So we've done our wipeout round. We're now going to move on to our second Who Am I of the evening, and then our second 10 questions. Greg gets 0. Cockneys did us. Again, don't miss. There's lots of zeros there, so it's not unusual on the wipeout round. So your second Who Am I? Usual rules apply. It's a Who Am I, not a What Am I. I know I've been doing some What Am I for the second one recently, but it is a Who Am I. I'm actually going to just tweak these around a little bit, I think. Which way do I go? For 10 points, my career ended in Italy in 1994. My career ended in Italy in 1994. That's for 10 points. Joe's gone for 10. Boothie's gone for 10. My mum's tempted. Is she going to go for 10? My career ended in Italy in 1994. I think my mum's holding fire. I'm going to wait for another clue. So just the 2 in for 10 points there. My career ended in Italy in 1994. For 8 points, I am a 3-time world champion in my sport. I am a 3-time world champion in my sport. So my career ended in Italy in 1994, and I am a 3-time world champion in my sport. Wadsworth's gone for 8. Jean's gone for 8.
Crossy 8, mate, yeah.
Dazzler's gone for 8. Constantine's gone for 8. there's a couple gone for 10. There's 3 or 4 gone for 8. My career ended in Italy in 1994, and I'm a three-time world champion in my sport. Your clue for 6 points. I was born on the 21st of March, 1960, in Sao Paulo. I was born on the 21st of March, 1960, in Sao Paulo. So my career ended in Italy in 1994. I'm a three-time world champion in my sport, and I was born on the 21st of March, 1960, in Sao Paulo. Sarah's gone for 6. Greg's gone for 6. Mum?
No.
No. So you were close on 10, and then you're nowhere near on 6.
Well, yeah.
It usually works that way. Dave and I neat gone for 6. A few more gone for 6 there. So a couple went for 10, 4 went for 8, 3 have gone for 6. Still a few more to come in. So your clue for 5 points. I was the last person to die in my sport until Jules Bianchi in 2015. I was the last person to die in my sport until Jules Bianchi in 2015. That's your clue for 5. Come on, Mum, you must get it off that one. Ryan and Paul both gone for 5. No. You'll get it on the next if you've not got it by now. Your clue for 4 points. I made my debut in 1984 at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Surely. You know him. I made my debut in 1984 at the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
4.
4. My mum's gone for 4. She's gone for 4, and I made my debut in 1984 at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Terry's gone for 4. Your clue for 3 points. I was driving for Williams when I died at the San Marino Grand Prix. I was driving for Williams when I died at the San Marino Grand Prix. That's for 3. I think they're pretty much all in now, so I can speed up through the last few as I normally do. But it looks like they're all in. For 2 points, my main rival was Alan Prost. For 2 points, my main rival was Alan Prost. And for 1 point, I am regarded as one of the greatest F1 drivers of all time, winning my World Championships racing for McLaren. I'll also give you my initials AS. My initials AS. A for Alpha, S for Sierra. I am, of course, Ayrton Senna. So, who scored what? I'm curious to see how those 10s came along. So, Aidan, Constantine's got 8. Sarah got the 6 you went for. Paul got the 5. Wadsworth's got the 8. Terry 4. Boovy gets the 10. Every credit. Well done. Sharon Rose and Chloe 5. Greg O'Donoghue 6. There was another one went for 10. I think it was Joe Fishwick as well. Castler only got 1. You needed the initials for that one, really. I thought Phil would have cleaned up on that one. David Arnick 6. Gene 0. Gene, who did you go for out of interest? Ryan gets 5. Joe gets the 10 that she went for. Well done, Joe. That's, again, probably a little bit easier than the last one, to be fair, but that's a great 10. I missed that. Did Jean say who she went for then? Bet Phil knew it all the time on tip of his tongue. Phil knew it, he just didn't know his name, Sarah. I know who it is, I just don't know what they're called. Surprised at that. I thought Phil would have got that and for 5 or 6 points there, to be fair. Right, I'm going to move on to our second 10 questions on tonight's quiz. So your last 10 questions, the last 10 questions of the quiz. Question 11. What is the UK's most dialed number? What is the UK's most dialed number? Think about it. You thought it was Diego Maradona?
When I said the 10, I was going to go Maradona.
Right.
Don't worry.
Did you get what did you get it in the end for
I
4?
got 4.
So my mum got 4 on the Who Am I as well.
Yeah.
She got the 4 she went for. Question 12. Which film starred Eli Wallach, Clint Eastwood and Lee Van Cleef? Which film starred Eli Wallach, Clint Eastwood and Lee Van Cleef?
Crossy, do you have a time frame for question 11?
Do I have a time frame for question 11? What do you mean by that, mate?
Well, for how long? Are we talking, what, since records began or in the last 2 years or?
I'm gonna say I can't really give a clue. I don't think it. I think you'll agree with it when you hear the answer, if that makes sense.
We thought the same. We needed a time period. We're having a disagreement here. It's
Right,
crucial.
I'm going to say there's no. I don't think the time period's relevant, is what I'll say. So, what's the most UK dialed number? Let's just say in the last 20 years, what's the most dialed number in the UK? I think it's fair to say that it would still be in that period. It will probably be before it as well. But let's go with that. Last 20 years, what's the most dialed number? Question 13. Who is the founder of the film company Happy Madison Productions? Who is the founder of the film company Happy Madison Productions? You know that? Yeah. Yeah. Every credit if you do. I didn't think you'd get that. You have seen some of those Happy Madison films, though. Question 14. On what day of the week did the 9/11 attacks take place? On what day of the week did the 9/11 attacks take place? Question 15. In which European city is the San Siro football stadium? In which European city is the San Siro football stadium? Good evening, Graham. How are you?
Good evening, Crossy. Yeah, sorry I've missed it. I've just been absolutely snowed under tonight.
No worries. So you're all right.
Are you pretty much through with it now?
Pretty much, yeah. Last 5 general knowledge, and then we're done.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I'll stay on board.
Cool. Question 16. Who was Robin Who was Robben Island Prison's most famous inmate? Who was Robben Island Prison most famous inmate? Do you know that one more? No, but you're having a guess.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Question 17. Where in the human body would you find a pair of ventricles? Where in the human body would you find a pair of ventricles? Question 18. What is the most southerly US state? What is the most southerly US state? I know you all love your geography, especially after last week. What's the most southerly US state? Question 19. How are Alvin, Simon and Theodore collectively known? How are Alvin, Simon and Theodore collectively known? And question 20, and the second reason for a 12 rating tonight on this evening's quiz. If you use the acronym PMSL, what would you be saying? If you use the acronym PMSL, what would you be saying? That's P for Papa, M for Mike, S for Sierra, L for Lima. So that concludes tonight's quiz. I'm going to give you a few minutes just to fill in any blanks that you might have, and then we'll go through the answers to your picture round, your 20 questions, and we'll see who scored what. So if you want any repeats,
What were 14, John?
Say that again, Phil.
14.
Question 14. On what day of the week did the 9/11 attacks take place? Does anybody want any more repeats?
You're 18, Crossy.
18, Paul, yeah?
Please.
What's the most southerly US state? That's 18. Bring it down. Dogs are trying to get through artificial grass to get to worms.
Yeah, I know, they were doing that this morning. Flicking it up with the beak they were.
Could you please say number 11 word for word, please?
Yes, number 11. What is the UK's most dialed number? I don't mean a single number. I mean a number, but what's the most dialed number? I don't mean zeros.
My favourite
1, 2, 0, 4. Is it Speaky's mobile number?
It is if you're Martin, Crossy.
It is if you're Martin. It's not Martin's mobile number. You haven't got one. Yeah, Gaz top trump speaking, doesn't he? Number 1 and number 2. So last call for any repeats. Does anyone want any more repeats? And then we're going to fly through some picture round answers and then your 20 questions answers. I think everyone's good for repeats. Right, answer time. Pictures first. Are we all sat down and good to go? It looks like everyone's... Gaz has just come back. Yeah, it looks like everyone's sat there pretty much good to go. So let's have a look at some pictures. Right, I'll have to load these up because I didn't write down the answers from. So number 1 on your picture round is Raymond Blanc. Number 2, tricky one, Reese Shearsmith. Number 3 is Right Said Fred. Number 4 is Connie Booth. Number 5 is Matt Lucas. Number 6 is Lee Francis. Number 7 is Winona Ryder. Number 8 is David Williams. Seems wrong saying that, looking at that picture. Number 9 is Stephen King. Number 10 is Ant and Dec. 10 and 11, sorry, Ant and Dec. Ant McPartlin, Declan Donnelly. Number 12 is Fred. Fred, I think it's Syria or something like that, Syria. But Fred, we'll give you Fred. Number 13 is Phil Collins. Number 14 is Stacey Solomon. And number 15 is Francis de la Tour. Sharon Rose and Chloe, full marks on the picture, and I think that's pretty good this week, to be honest with you. There's a couple of those that are a little bit difficult. Reece Shearsmith, I think, is quite a difficult one. Constantine's 13, Paul 9, Ryan 11, Boothie 11, Joel 13, David Anique 3, Sarah 11, Mum 10, Wadsworth 13, Jean 11. Yeah, so those scores all seem a little bit lower than they normally do, just probably a couple lower than they normally would be. Greg 10. So I do think I've made that one a little bit harder. I like that. That's good. Topical as well. Always good. Right, so we're going to move on to your 20 questions. Screaming Lord Sutch was the leader of which political party? He was the leader of the Monster Raving Loony Party. Question 2. From which country do Lexus cars originate? They originate from Japan. Lexus is owned by Toyota, and I think Lexus stands for Luxury Exports United States. Could be wrong, but I think that's what it stands for. Question 3. Which famous couple lived at 25 Cromwell Street in Gloucestershire? That would be Fred and Rosemary West. There's your serial killer question for the week. That should keep you all happy till next week. Question 4. For what? No, I changed it, didn't I? Question 4 was who was the Greek god of love? The Greek god of love is Eros. Question 5. Which brand of coffee was named after the hotel in which it was first served? Maxwell House. Question 6. Which English word comes from an old French word meaning sour wine? That will be vinegar. Question 7. Where does the conclave take place to elect a pope? It takes place in the Sistine Chapel and has done since the 1400s. Question 8. Which entertainer, born in 1929, had his coffin decorated with 4 candles at his funeral in 2005? That would be Ronnie Barker.
Is it not Bruce Forsyth?
No, it's not Bruce Forsyth. It's Ronnie Barker in reference to his 4 candles sketch. He wants 4 candles and gets 4. That one, remember?
Yeah.
Question 9. How many people are portrayed in Da Vinci's Last Supper? There were 13 people portrayed in Da Vinci's Last Supper. Question 10. Where is the National Railway Museum? That's in York. Somewhere I've been once and I will never go again. Not York, the National Railway Museum specifically. Question 11. What's the UK's most dialed number? The most dialed number in the UK is 1471. Just looking at a few facial expressions there is go, oh yeah, you do dial that one quite a lot, to be fair. I'm guessing a lot of guesses probably went down for 999, I'd have thought. But yeah, 1471, most dialed number in the UK. Question 12. Which film starred Eli Wallach, Clint Eastwood and Lee Van Cleef? That was The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. Question 13. Who is the founder of the film company Happy Madison Productions? That's
Adam Sandler.
It is Adam Sandler. Well done, Mum. I did not expect you to get that one. Question 14. On what day of the week did the 9/11 attacks take place? They took place on a Tuesday. Question 15. In which European city is the San Siro football stadium? It's in Madrid. Sorry, it's in Milan. Sorry. Milan. What have you put?
Italy.
No. Question 16. Who was Robben Island Prison's most famous inmate? Nelson Mandela. Question 17. Where in the human body would you find a pair of ventricles? You'd find a pair of ventricles in the heart. Question 18. What's the most southerly US state? The most southerly US state is Hawaii. Question 19. How are Alvin, Simon and Theodore collectively known? They're known as the Chipmunks. And question 20. If you use the acronym PMSL, what phrase would you be saying? You'll be saying, pissing myself laughing. So get your scores totted up. Let's see who scored what. Don't forget to add on your Wipeout round scores and your Who Am I scores. So all your totals as one, and let's see who's done what on tonight's quiz. 49 from Sharon, Rose and Chloe. It's a very, very good score to kick us off. 47 from the Wadsworths. So it's Sharon, Rose and Chloe to beat on 49. Sarah, 44. Caslot, 41. The Constantines, 51. New leaders. Boothie, disappointing, 34. Terry, 37. Joe, 52. Pipping the Constantines by 1. Paul Walker, 43. Greg, 38. Jean, 27. Mary, 35. Mega score for us. We'll blame it on the connection issues, David. It's all on the connection issues. 25. Mum, 30 for my mum. 47 from Digger Daz. That came in privately. He's obviously embarrassed of his score. Won't send it to everyone. Just sends it privately to me. 47. So, I think that's most of them in. A couple more. No, 33 from Ryan. Our age showed on that one. You know what, Ryan? You've been up there on many of the weeks. You've been right up there. So you're 20 points behind this week. That's a real big drop. I wouldn't have said that was necessarily an older person's quiz, or... No, I wouldn't have said so looking at it. I think our winners tonight, unless something comes in very, very late, is going to be a 52-point Joe Fishwick. Well done. 52 points. That's a fantastic score. I think aided by some great scoring on your Who Am I rounds. I think you got a 10 and an 8 on your Who Am I rounds. To get 18 out of 20 on that is exceptional, to be honest with you. So very, very well done. It was a quiz for inappropriate Catholics. Fair enough. Right, okay, so thank you all very much for attending. I hope you've all enjoyed yourselves. Massive congratulations to Joe Fishwick and team with a score of 52. I think it was a really, really good score. Only won it by 1 though, so it was very close again. I'm guessing we'll still be on. Yeah, Stuart will be there as well, so it'll be Joe and Stuart. I'm guessing we'll still be on next week. When we can get back to it, we're doing the quiz on a Tuesday night in the cricket club again. But I think for now it'll still be online for another couple of weeks yet. So thank you all for attending. I hope you've all enjoyed yourselves, and I will see you all next week at the same time.
Yeah.